Robert Plank Show, episode 145. Establish your brand, build the right team, and live the lifestyle you deserve with Paul Potratz. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Robert Plank Show. Our guest today is Paul Potratz. He's the COO of Potratz, a firm in Schenectady, New York. I hope I said his name and the city right, that works with businesses in the US, Canada, and Copenhagen on creating top funnel brand strategies, consumer engagement content on websites and social media, and sales training. Sounds like lots of good stuff. How are things today, Paul?
Good, good. How about you, Robert?
Super fantastic. I see you're in upstate New York. I was there about a year ago. I fell and broke my ankle in two places there. So I don't think I'll be going back.
Yeah, that's not the norm here. I mean, it's a bunch of Italian food and senior citizens.
I mean, maybe I just had to go to your exact city, not just the general area, maybe.
That's probably what it was, yeah.
So in your general area of Schenectady, New York, and wherever else the world takes you, what would you say it is that you do and what makes you different and special?
Well, we work with business owners, but we work with business owners establishing a brand and getting new clients. But so I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, that's our ad agency portion. But in the last few months, I mean, I've started to expand out of that because the agency does well. And what I mean by expanding is working with business owners or future business owners of how to get their business going.
Okay, so do you have any cool stories lately? Do you have any cool, interesting, almost like cutting edge things that you're doing to help these businesses recently?
Yeah, matter of fact, I do, and because I'm asked that question a lot. You know, what's cool, what's new, what's cutting edge, and we can definitely talk about dynamic retargeting and Gmail ads, and we have workshops here in our office a lot. And what I've done is I'm like, let's go back to the basics. Because with all the new technology and everything, we forget about the basics of how to answer the phone, how to actually proof our emails, how to send emails, how to build an email database. And and to kind of take all that back, because there's so many things swirling through my head, it's all about brand. And I feel like that's what people are missing because of all the online, the digital marketing, pay-per-click, is they don't establish a brand. And if you don't establish a brand, all you have is sell by price, die by price.
So what should people be doing to establish that brand?
Well, you've got to decide, what is it that what is your product, what is your service, and how does it improve one's lives? So, I mean, you've got to decide how does it really help someone. In, the workshop I just did a few weeks ago, I was in Virginia. And I was trying to get the business owners to understand how does your product or service improve somebody's life. And I, gave them a little, test, or I can say a task to do, to come up, work together in groups. And they just couldn't get out of the sales pitch. And that's what they wanted to do, is pitch their product and not talk about how their product or service was going to help somebody save time, save money, improve their life.
So they're lacking the what's in it for me then.
Exactly. Yeah, you've got to think selfish. You've got to turn yourself around. And I don't mean that negative, but you've got to think, why does someone want to do business with you other than price? And that's where, most business owners, they want to automatically go to price. And if you sell by price, you don't, the only way you can go is go down.
Right. So do you have a case study where that kind of thing happened, just to kind of reinforce the point home? Do you have anyone that you came across where maybe they were trying to compete on price and you changed their ways and made them market better?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and even ourselves, I mean, that we were growing as an agency. And, we do an interview process with prospective clients. And then we said, what, we want to compete against these other companies. So we kind of lost our way. And this was about a year and a half ago. We started competing on price, but we're not scalable for price. And I definitely seen the result after doing that for about 8 months. Yeah, granted, we added a lot of clients, but the clients we added didn't stay with us as long. And so that's been something that we've been talking about for a number of years with all of our clients. For example, I've got a good friend of mine. He started out as a client. Now he's a really good friend. His name's Ryan. And Ryan's in a market. I mean, he's a car dealer. And I'll talk about that because, automotive can be very relatable to everybody. And when we first started working together, he was competing on price. And now he doesn't compete on price, and his cars are an average of $1,500 to $2,000 more than competing dealers in the market, but he's outselling them.
So what are you having him do specifically to outsell his competitors there?
Well, it's all about the experience. I mean, and what I mean by the experience, I mean, I really talk about like Macy's versus Nordstrom. I mean, I'm sure a lot of your listeners have been into those two stores, and you go to Macy's and you just don't get that help. You don't get that, that experience, and they drop everything in the bag. If you, for example, you buy a tie. It's a pet peeve of mine. I buy a tie, I pay good money for a tie. They take the tie, they just drop it in the bag. They roll it in half and drop it in the bag. That's Macy's. Nordstrom, well, they take that tie and they're like, oh, let me help you find a shirt. Let me help you find a suit. Let me help you find pocket square. Let me help you find socks. And I mean, so on and so forth. And then when you purchase the tie, they fold it, they put it in a box, they put it in the bag, they take your credit card, they say thank you, they walk around the counter and they hand you the bag instead of just shoving it to you across the counter. And Ryan, being, a car dealer, his team has been trained instead of, when you come on the lot, hey, can I help you? What are you looking for? How much are you going to put down? Those type of things. And even in their phone process and how they talk and how they have a discussion and the things that they deliver. You fill in a lead form on his website. It's not all about price. It's to find out exactly, is that vehicle right for you? So it's a discussion and it's helping. So it's really more of a consultation than just how quick can I sell this to you and get you out of here.
So it sounds like lots of, I guess, little touches. So were those like something that you thought of on your own, or did you go and research the other car dealers, or how did you settle on these specific things that Ryan the car dealer should have been doing?
Well, it's definitely a partnership because Ryan's a big believer in making sure that he adds the right team. I mean, the interview process, and if you don't have the right team, you won't ever be able to do it. But my own experience, how do we like to be treated when we go to spend money? And it was a wake-up call to me some years back. I was in Paris, France with my wife, and we're, as the store named Charvet. And Charvet is where, the Kennedys used to get their shirts. It's custom-made shirts, and it's a very popular store. And, that was part of my, when we go to Paris, I'm going to Charvet. And I remember going in, and this place is really a dump. It's 3 stories of a dump, but their shirts are all custom made. And I remember I went in and I met the woman and I said, all right, I want to get some shirts done. So we're on the second floor and she's trying the different shirts on. They have, the test shirts. And I'm like, okay, this is the one I like. And she's like, no, it doesn't fit. I was like, yeah, it fits. Because I wanted the shirt that, because after you get a little older, you realize that the shoulders have got to fit just right. And so I had a shirt, it was a 16 in the collar, and she said, nope, it's too tight. You need a 16 and a half. But when you go up to the next size, the shoulders get bigger. And I'm like, no, I want a 16, I'm losing weight. And she's like, no, I won't sell it to you. And I was like, what? What do you mean you won't sell it to me? But, it went into this discussion and everything. And she said, no, I'm not a salesperson. I'm a consultant. I would not let my shirt go out of the store looking like that on you. And she was actually not going to complete the sale, but it was just the whole experience and the process that she took me through. I was like, wow, there's something to this, because I went in to get, maybe 1 or 2 shirts, and I ended up leaving with like 10 because I was told I couldn't do it, and the experience was different, and it was fascinating, which made me really start to study what is the psychology of when we're purchasing. And I mean, we talk about like the Bellabon effect, something like a, high-end purses and how people will buy a high-end purse, even though the quality's not any different. It's just the whole mystique, the prestigious factor of it all. So and you can do that in any product, any service, regardless of the competition you have.
So do you think, is this something that everyone should be doing? Looking to, I guess, like class up the process and make it less of a sales transaction and more of a consultation?
I think so, definitely. I mean, even today, you kind of think about, all of us are walking around with smartphones now. And when we go to purchase something, we do research. We do research. I mean, even if we're going to go buy, a $3.50 air freshener that you plug in the wall, we still want to do the research on it. And if everybody's going online to do research, shouldn't you start being a consultative seller instead of just, trying to sell by price? Granted, there's going to be those salespeople and those business owners out there that's what they think a call to action is price, and that's what they're going to focus on. But if you want to be able to have loyal clients, and I use the word clients instead of customers, because customers go to Walmart, clients, you're a trusted authority. But if you want to have those repeat clients over and over, and if you want to build word of mouth and you want to build your brand, you need to become a consultant, regardless of the product or service you're selling.
I like that. I like that idea. So, kind of along those lines of you, like, building this stuff up and having the right team and having the right process. I understand that you took a little bit of a road trip lately. Is that right?
Constantly taking road trips. So not sure which one you're referring to, since I've had a lot of them. But
Well, I mean, tell me about something, and tell me, like, is this? I mean, you take these road trips all the time. Is this possible because you've built up this good team and kind of a machine that runs without you, or what's the secret to having the successful business, but also being able to take time off whenever you want?
yeah. So I've definitely taken a lot of road trips, personal and business wise. But when I started the agency, I remember, I started it. I should have called it Dude and His Dog Agency, because I started in a bedroom, and my dog laying at my feet, and I was doing it all. I was doing copywriting, media buying, video production, account management, sales, and everything. But it's definitely been over the years, because I started in 2003, and the interview process and trying to find the right team members. And we've definitely, we've had some failures, but that's part of growing. And we've had some tremendous success. So yeah, the agency pretty much, I won't say it runs itself, but I've got a team of individuals that are dedicated, and they run with it, and they treat it like it's their own business. And, we've definitely set it up. For example, like, we have unlimited paid time off. If somebody wants to take a month off, take a month off. As long as you're hitting your, key performance and your key result areas, it doesn't make a difference. And the company pretty much runs on peer pressure, which allows me, like one of the trips that I took where I went out west, and I spent a few weeks out west on my dirt bike and didn't worry about it. And that's part of it. Are you the type of business owner that's working in your business or working on your business? And I try to work on the business, which has allowed me to, start another company since then. And the agency, is more or less my retirement egg, I guess you can say.
Well, cool. So, so was it just a matter of, like, how did you get from the 2003 era to now? Was it just a matter of, like, the combination of, like, this peer pressure thing and, like, trying different people out? Like, how did you get the whole team and all that figured out, and how did you get it to become a thing where you didn't have to always watch over it and micromanage?
It's a culture, and it's the different places I've worked over the years. I would work for the manager, not a leader, that would just do stupid things, and he wouldn't let me. He wouldn't let people make decisions. He wouldn't let people fail. He wouldn't let people succeed. You had to do it his way. So I worked in corporate America for a number of years, and everything about corporate America, I was like, it just doesn't make any sense. I don't like it, and I don't agree with it. And so when I started the company and I started adding employees, I said, how do I let people make decisions? And it's the little things. Granted, you can read all of the stuff in books, but that's what happens so many times. A business owner will, read something in a book, or they'll listen to a podcast, or, they'll go and hear a speaker talk, but they don't put those things in action and plan their day out and making sure that they're doing that. Like, when one of my team members come into my door and they're like, Paul, I got a question. I'm like, okay, great. What's your question? And I always make sure when they come with a question that they'll say, this is what I should do. This is what I think I should do. And I think this is going to be the result. I'm like, okay, great. Go try it. See what happens. So people aren't scared to fail. They're not scared to lose clients or whatever the recourse is going to be, because they know I'm always going to be there to support them. And it's just pushing. You make the decisions. And it's definitely grown. Granted, we've had some people that haven't made very wise decisions, but then there always has to, I'm not going to say there has to be a consequence, but, what did you learn from that? And that's just, that's really what our business is built on, coming to work, and having fun, making somebody's day, doing what's right, and not worrying about the money, because the money will follow if you do a great job.
That's an awesome attitude, and I like that idea of letting your people fail so that they'll learn like the decisions on their own. So did I hear that right? That when they come to you with a question, they have to already kind of have somewhat of an answer package with that question. Was that right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, otherwise, the company cannot, it won't ever grow on its own. If you've got to be a dictator and you're always saying you have to do this, you have to do that, and people are scared to make decisions, how's your company going to grow? How's it going to scale? It's you're always going to have to be involved in the company. One of two reasons: either you didn't train your people, or your people are scared to make decisions. And then if they're scared to make decisions, or if you're not letting them make decisions, they're going to end up going somewhere else anyway, because if they're that type of personality and mentality that they want to be the decision maker, they're going to go somewhere where they can be that person.
Right. So has this whole method of yours, has it ever failed really badly? Has it ever not worked?
Yeah, I mean, because if but I have a belief, and I've proved it over and over and over again, that when people go to work, when they get up in the morning and they come to work, they don't come to fail, they come to succeed. But as a leader, you've got to understand what is, what is success for each individual. And a lot of times we think, oh, we'll pay them more money. I mean, money's nice, yeah, and they definitely want to make money, and our team makes good money. I mean, we pay them more here in upstate New York than they can make in Boston or New York City. But it's not always money. There's so much more to it. But with that same mindset that people want to succeed, and you've got to understand what is success for them, there's been a time or two, or maybe a dozen times, that I've given, an individual too much leeway, or let them, I guess, spread their wings too quick before they were ready. And then they just kept on failing and failing and failing. And, then they're like, oh, this isn't for me. But it does take the right personality, and which is great, because interviewing, I don't have anything to do with interviewing here, and termination, I have nothing to do with termination. That's a committee of the team. So the committee decides who's going to be interviewed, who's hired, and who's fired.
So are you saying that if someone's on the team and they're kind of unpopular with everyone else, they can get booted out?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. But kind of interesting and kind of novel there too.
Well, you think about it. I mean, we've had different people that would come in, whether it's a graphic designer or a video editor, or somebody that just does, new business presentations. If they're not doing their job, then that's more work for everybody else. And if they're failing, then that's a reputation for the entire company. They're not pulling their weight. And then people they're saying, why am I not getting my bonus? Well, why didn't I get my quarterly bonus? Why didn't I get my year-end bonus? And it's like, well, you tell me, why do you think you didn't get it? What happened? Did we have any issues? Well, yeah, we had a direct mail that was done incorrectly. We had to send it again. That cost us $15,000. We had a Facebook campaign that was run incorrectly. That cost us $18,000. So I have them tell me why it's not happening. And then they're like, well, how did that happen? Well, so-and-so did this and so-and-so did that. Okay, there you go.
So how did you kind of figure all this out? Was this all trial and error, or like, I mean, this all seems kind of weird, but in a good way. So how did all this come about?
Well, to be completely honest, is I'm lazy. And I hate doing paperwork. It's not my strength. It's just, I love the creative process and creative thought. And so if I'm lazy doing paperwork, I've got to find other people to do it. If I'm lazy, doing finances, I got to find other people to do it. So I said, why not empower the people here that really want to do it? And that's where it really came, that it's, I guess that's a good explanation of what it is. I mean, there's things that I really like to do and things I don't like to do. And the things I don't like to do, I definitely want to have other people doing that enjoy it.
I like that, and it reminds me of the Bill Gates quote where he says something like, "If you want something done, find a lazy person to do it because they'll find an easy and fast way to get it done."
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So there you
cool.
go.
Well, cool. So, can you tell me about these two businesses and What's I mean, what's happening with them, and tell us about them and where people can find out about them and all that good stuff.
All right. So yeah. So the agency's name is it's Potrats, and so we're known as a digital agency. But my newest venture is it's my website that's launching pretty quick, which is my first name, last name, Paul Potrats. And there's a page that spins off of that that's called The Growth Mindset. And what I've done with the growth mindset is, because when I started my company, I really struggled. What bookkeeping system do I use? What do I need to have on my business cards? Do I need a slogan? Do I need a logo? What website do I use? All these questions. How do I hire new people? What should be a pay plan? So when you're starting a company or even in business, people struggle with that. So what I've done is I've gone all around the country and I'm on the lookout for smart entrepreneurs. And I've said, why don't you join the Growth Mindset? And the Growth Mindset is a group of entrepreneurs, and that's where we share bundles every week. So we have a new thing that comes out, and it can be anywhere from how to use YouTube to market yourself, or how to make sure that your financial statement is balanced correctly, whatever it might be. And so that's our newest thing that we're launching that's coming out November 22nd, and it's called the Growth Mindset, but it's off of my website. And so we do, like I said, bundles. It's a video is a part of it. We do a webinar, so we have questions and answers, but it's for entrepreneurs that are wanting to grow their business. It's a membership website, but it's cheap. We're still figuring out the pricing, but it's going to be between $30 and $50 a month.
And is that one at paulpotrats.com?
Yep, paulpotrats.com.
And then the website of your agency, is that ppadv.com?
That's it. Yep.
And do you have any plans to make any kind of a website to teach people how to become a snappy dresser?
I put that out there and no one seemed like they were really interested in it. I don't know. And I tell you what, I love putting ginghams and plaids and stripes together in different colors. And it's just hard to find guys that are willing to wear that other than myself.
Oh, well, maybe it's like you can keep all the secrets to yourself then.
I'm more than happy to share everything I know, but it's just, and people are always like, yeah, that looks good. That looks sharp. I just wouldn't be able to pull it off. And I was like, yeah, you'd be able to pull it off. It's easy. Just throw some stuff together with some colors and some patterns and you're good.
They just need more confidence. Need that better branding.
Exactly. It's what it is. And I think that's part of, the branding thing. And it was a point that I went to make because I felt like so many people were dressing like me. And I said, I'm going to take it to another level.
Might as well, right? If you're doing it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. What the heck? Why not?
Well, cool. Well, along those lines, thanks for stopping by the show, Paul. And the websites are ppadv.com and paulpotrats.com. So thanks again for stopping by.
Thanks, Robert. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to go to Paul's website right now, as well as robertplank.com/iTunes, and subscribe to the podcast. Thanks so much.